Hello everyone, and welcome to another Woodworking Wisdom. So today we're going to continue with that little jewellery box. If you've watched the first two sessions, I was so hoping we'd get it in 2 sessions, but we've done everything in front of you, and it's a shame it's not live. Why is it not live? Too much gluing up to do. It slows it down, you've got to let the glue set, all those little tasks. So today we're going to keep going with, we've got to clean up the top, bottom, get the sides, level off where the glue is, separate it and line it. So still quite a few tasks to do. Coming on, it's a nice little box. So our ash, elm and a bit of cedar in the bottom. So first thing we really want to do, clean up the ends. Okay, so I've got that end grain section. We can go probably camera 2, I think we'll have a look at. Got the end grain coming up through, glue on here, need to get rid of. All those little things play a part. So if I put it in the vise, it doesn't support it nicely. So I'm just going to open the vise out. I've got this extra pine batten that I'm going to use. So I put that in. Now the pine batten means I can bridge across where the hollow is in the lid. Here. So put that in. Go to there. Bring that back a little bit. Pinch that in. So it bridges across it nice. It will support it. It will grip it nicely. Not going to move about. Put a little bit more pressure. Then we want to cut this. Now at the moment we have end grains coming down through here. That's fibres there. I wonder if I can. Let's just reach up a little bit and see if we can go. Could be right up in the corner. So I think we'll go back to camera 2. Look, right on there. So we've got a couple of options. We can either go hand plane. I'm going to go little block plane, I think, at the moment. So I'll get our block plane. I just want my setter just to see what we've got on here. A little bit coarse at the moment. Just going to bring it back. Now that little block, before I go into the job and hit it really hard, be better to set the plane up. A little bit there. I can adjust. That's better. Now at the moment, probably going to take real light cut. Not going to look like much to start with. Reason for going block plane, a bit lighter to use, easier to control. Now I'm just adjusting the cut. Other important bit, I've got to come in from the side. If I try and come off the side here, all these end-grain fibres, they're going to break out. So I've got to come in from that end. A little bit high there, that's good. I'm going to feel fingertips. I'll tell you where anything is. A little bit more just to go there. And this is just really levelling off the ends, making sure things blend together. A little bit hard there, so we'll do that. Tighten things back up. Done there. Other side. Coming from there. And again, blending everything in. Nice and flat. That's good. One end done. Other end already had a little bit of a ply with. Let's drop that down. Not a lot to get, which is good. Again, trying to adjust the plane, take nice light shaving. I brought the mouth up. That's supporting the shaving when we're cutting, stopping it tearing. Again, main thing to think about, working in so we're not coming off that end grain. Okay, so we've skimmed those nice and clean, get some flat. We can lose that extra batten, that was really helpful, good way of supporting it. We now need to do the top and bottom. Okay, so I just bring the vise in to get it out my way, block plane can go back out. So I want to level this up. A bit there, a little bit discrepancy, a little bit of glue. Same on the base. Tricky to run around with a plane today. It is possible. But why not do something like a sanding board? So all this is some abrasive paper, some spray milk glue and bond it down. Okay, let's just have a look on free a minute. I don't know where that comes to on the camera. That's not bad. Might be able to get you just a little bit nearer. That's good. So this is some 180 grit abrasive, paper backed, so stuck down. Don't go using double-sided tape, it doesn't work. So we want to level here. Nice thing with doing this, and I put it on a nice flat piece of melamine type board. We can use this as a sanding board. Now, the advantage with doing this, I'm creating a flat surface across the whole shape. If I do a plane and take a bit off the corners, does it end up flat? You rock about. Feel what's going on. Got a little bit still to go. Lose that. That's torn in the corner there a little bit, so I take that off. We don't want that lifting up too much. Just having a feel what's going on. One side done. That's the underside. Do exactly the same on the lid. Just work round it. Keep the dust to a minimal. Let's push it off. Let's get it out of the way. It'll stop it clogging the abrasive. Let's have a look again, see what's going on. Tiny bit. And this is definitely easier than chasing round, trying to take that high corner off and trying to work that round that narrow rim. Again, what's happening? That's pretty good there. Good on the underside. So for a second we can lose our board. Don't know how flat my bench is. That'd be an interesting comment. Okay, get a little bit of rock there. That's good. Okay, so you can play around. You'll get that flatter by doing it that way than actually probably doing a plane. Next thing we'll look at, lid and base separation. So now we've got a flat surface all the way round. We can scribe a line. Now traditionally I'd probably use marking gauge, cutting gauge. But for this I'm going to use pencil because it'll be easier to see. So I've set up a depth. I think I'm about 20mm down. So I'm working off the top section for the lid. I can draw a line round. Bring it round. All four. So that gives me a break line that I can work with all the way around the box. I think you can probably see that on there. There's that line coming down. So lid and base, bring it back into shot. Look, that's good. So we're going to separate that. Going to cut that with a saw. So first thing I'm going to do is set the vise up, get this into here, tilt it back. Now I'm going to tilt this a little bit of an angle. So get that almost 45 if you like. That's quite nice. What do we get on 3 as well? Let's just have a quick look on there. Okay. I'm going to do something a little bit sneaky. So just go back to 2 minutes. Let's have a look now. That'll be better, I think. I brought you in just a little bit, I think. Okay. Right, one saw. So I'm going to use Japanese saw. We've got different marks to do different things. This is our TATEBIKI. It's a dovetail type saw. Now the reason I've gone with this, or the other one, this is a Z saw. They have a back. Makes it a bit easier to do this task. The one I picked up, the SHOKUNIN one. I've got the back on it, make it a bit more rigid, slightly coarser cut. This is our dovetail type saw. This is 26 TPI, the one I've got, so that's incredibly fine. So I'm going to probably go that there. Next thing I need, my glasses. Getting older. So I'll put those on. Now deliberately put this up on a corner edge so I can start one place. Okay. Handle. Got to remember this is cutting coming towards me. First few swipes. Not trying to be too aggressive. Go finer. That's better. Now I've got that support hand in my left hand. I'm looking at that line. And in reality, I'm cutting what I can see. there. Going to bring this up round a little bit now. Saw back in. And keep the dust out, see what's going on. Got my line coming down. Next corner. Not trying to be too firm, allowing the saw to cut. Engaging a longer section of the saw blade now because we're cutting quite straight. Bring the handle up. Less material to cut a bit more aggressively down through there. Back onto a corner. And hand around. Bring it up. Pinch back in. Carefully back into there. Which corner we are? Got that there. Got enough holding there at the moment. So you can hear that cutting nicely on the pull stroke. Bring it up round. Load it. Just trying to check I'm not pinching the saw cut too much. Nice advantage with using Japanese pull saw for this thinner section, so we're going to waste less material. Bridged over to the next corner. We have our line at the moment, comes down through, a little bit round. So up to here. I'd like to, I've got one, 6-inch ruler. You could use maybe a bit of paper, a bit of card. This might just be that little bit thick. But I want something just to stop me when I put this in the vise, pinching that saw cut. So as I put it back in now, it'll pinch on the ruler, stop me pinching, so the saw will move easier. If I put it in the vise with where it is, and I've got the saw cut, the chances are it'll pinch on the saw, stop me moving it. Check what's on up there, that's good. Bring it round a bit more. Bring it up. Along in that cut down, arming down towards the corner. Coming down, check where things are. I think we got all that. Let's just have a quick look before we move it round again. Looks good. Bring it up round, pinch it back in. Come down just a little bit. Now that's pinching nicely on the ruler, which will be good. So I'm using the diagonal now. This is creating more strength, making things squarer as a cut, because we've actually got more interlock here. Got that triangle section engaged. That's helped keeping the saw straight. Look, people are quite daunted about making something like a box like this, cut it by hand. Because if you start to wander off with your saw cut, you can be all over the place. Things don't line up. So hopefully, nearly there. Got to bring it round. I've got that ruler just to bridge up over. And go from there. Should be back to start. That's good. All the way through. That nice fine saw, really good for that. Nice and controlled, not too aggressive. Maybe takes a bit longer, but will leave us a better finish. Hopefully. I've got a little edge somewhere. Where is it then? Feels like I've got something just on that corner. I don't want to snap it, temptation is to give it a pull. Go back in. Same so. Where is it then? Where we got the bit? Maybe there. Something there, look. I can see I've got a line there. Up over. That's it. I don't know what it was, but there was something. Okay. We got our 2 halves. It's quite nice, isn't it? Quite quick. And obviously with this we're trying to get things flat. Not too much breakout in the inside. Now we've got to clean those areas up. So we go back to our little sanding board. Bring the vise back in. Again, with the lid on. Probably make a horrible noise. If it does, I'm sorry, alright? Keep moving it about. Definitely easier, I think, to do this than trying to work round it with a plane. See if I can control that horrible noise. It's the back edge that I've got where my left thumb is down in here. What's going on? You'll feel where you haven't got. We'll get in there. Turn it round again. Good to work different directions. Hand pressure, trying to keep things nice and equal. Good. Well, look, have a feel. You'll feel the difference between the sanded and the saw cut. And what's going on? Nearly there. Dust mask would be good if you're going to do lots of this. Causes problems with the mic for me on this, so I'm going to have to live with it. Last bit up there, so swap it round again. Alright. And fingers, what's going on? That's nice. We can line things back up. That's the side, that way round. Let's have a look. That one there. Alright. Check how it sits on here. Does it rock? That looks good. So, done with that for a second. Oh. Gotta go back to this. So my shooting board. Now I'm probably gonna find, I'm just gonna have a look at a camera shot for you, because I know I move things about, so I can bring that back just a little bit. So we now want to do the lining. Okay, why do we need a lining? Where are we? That there. At the moment, this one, lid just slides off. We could put hinges, maybe one hinge. I've done these so they have a drop-on lid. That's quite nice, and it needs to almost, we can match up on there, look, alright, float on and off. It's got that little bit of, okay, so we want to do that. So at the moment we have our books, we're going to line the inside. So I've got some more of the cedar. So this is cedar aluminum. I've cut it to 40mm wide strips. Oh, which ones do I do first? At the moment I've done end grain across there first. Let's do that. I want to do something that's going to go in the end We'll do the same the other side, and then we'll do the long one. So this one's just over, which is good. Check it's not going to fit anywhere. So on a plane, let's go grab, I'll go number 5, something just a little bit bigger. You could get away with block plane for this, but then just bring the blade forward a little bit, see where we're cutting. And again, nice and sharp. I did see a few comments about the plane looked really sharp for the first session. It's so important to get it sharp. See if that one goes there. Not a lot to come off there. Need to do one for the other end. So we've got a long one. Get rid of that. Short one down in here. Like that. One of these got crack in it. That one there. So we've got the one for there. Want the one for the other end down here. So first thing we've got to do, shoot an end. Get it square. We then need to do mark. I think what we'll do, we'll take pencil out of there. I can do small mark on there. We need square. I've got them up in there. Look, that'll be good. Pencil line gives me a guideline. Is my best way I can phrase that. So I think we'll go back with what we've just been using. I'm going to cut outside that line. Pulling towards me. Now the trim. How much do we need? Should be a bit more. There is. Now the beautiful thing with using shooting board for this, how accurate you can get it. Most of us would struggle to do this chop saw, mitre saw, table saw, maybe, but I can get a better result with this. A little bit more time consuming. I can get those so they just fit in. Quite nice. Long one. So that literally just slides. Long one, we need an end. One there. Can bring it round. That to there. So I'm looking at the grain of the cedar, trying to figure out which way I want stuff. So actually we're going to have that end. Let's square that up. Better check it. Hold that up, that's good. Want this round the other way, but it's easier for me to mark a line. Again, I'm being just over. Draw a line, go back to it, double check. Alright, nothing worse if you've only just got enough material cut on the wrong place. Come to there, gently on the start strokes, not too much weight behind the saw. Nice fine cut. Now we're going to make it fit. Flip it over, just trying to make sure I'm not getting anything of the build up on the back corner. Lower it in, doesn't quite go. Got to go careful doing that because you're coming in diagonally. Oh, your fingertips, see what's going on. A little bit to go still. Tiny bit. Let's take that one there a minute. I'm going to see. This will check things look square. They look good. So a tiny bit to come off. And this is about trying to get that nice and accurate as a tight fit. Tricky to come into there, still a bit tight. Using this short block as a measuring board. So this one's not to length, that's an offcut. Just to see thickness wise what's happening. back in where we want it. Check. Very close now. Ooh. Just playing around with, I know I've got to sand the inside face of these when I put them in. So I've got a tiny bit of material to come off. So I'm trying to be a little bit tight. That just about goes. Amazing how much different one cut will make. Squeeze that in. Nice and firm. Lovely. That's great. Another one to do. What have we got? Grain wise, just trying to see what's happening. So, to there. Need a corner. At that side. So I'm looking at the grain as it follows round to the inside, trying to make it flow a bit round the inside of the box. So, looking at which corners will go where better. Again, pencil mark, a little bit over. Easier to trim back than trying to put it back on. See what we've got. So double check that measurement. A little bit. Again, it's amazing. One cut could make all the difference on this. Tiny bit. How does that feel? That go in nicely. Can be fun getting them in. Can we get it back out? So, prise out one corner. Gotta be gentle, push it back. Problem with trying to get them out, they're slightly longer diagonal. That's annoying, we'll get that in a minute. Imagine what we can do, a little bit of glue on the bottom of that. Let's split down the grain. Okay. Just looking at, and it's going to take a little bit more time. I don't like the one in that corner. A little bit of slop. So I need to square this up. This has got a slight mitre cut. Why didn't I do them with a mitre cut? If you do them with a mitre, they're fiddly to get really accurate. Nice mitre guillotine would be fantastic. So I found it easier. Things like this. If you do them square, it's not going to show once it's glued. That's better. So the one we had in here, not quite tight enough what I want. Small gap. Yeah, I can be fussy. No, cut that bit off. And nice spine saw, no weight on it, just now to run. Quick check, see how much we've got to come off. Better. That's good. That just fits in a bit easier than I thought there. That's good. Alright, so move a few things. Done with the plane, so let's put it off the bench. Got brown box. Put back up on there. We want that one, that one. That and that are done with. so create some room. Bit of abrasive. Need to sand. Well, it's easier to sand these now, so we're going to sand that inside face. So some 240 grit abrasive, and that'll be big enough to work with the block. Hold it. I can either turn it that way, or I could get a rule out and do it there. Next thing I want to look at, which way do I want a space? What do I see better? I've got one there. A little bit fiddly to sand, but you've got to hold them. So we've got a couple of scrap blocks. That'll probably be long enough. I can use my shooting board just to the stop point. Got the abrasive around that block. Get hold of it, that's better. So I work on there. Turn it round. And down there. One done. Really looking at grain orientation. This has got a dent in there, so we have that on the inside. It'll be glued on, you won't see it. Face edge we want to see. Again, flip it round. Working grain direction. Just making it a bit easier to hold them up on here. To there. Problem one, we'll put that there. Second, that's more that side, but this is face edge. Again, not too much pressure on this. Flipping round. That one there, going to keep that little bit that splintered off. Should we have? Just checking on this, looking at it as I sand it, I can see a few planer marks. I just want to make sure we get rid of those. So much easier to do that now than when it's in the box and glued in. Really tricky to get in there and clean anything up. Alright, so grain direction I'm really just going to have a look at on the box. I think we can lose the shooting board and all the little bits. Clean out some of that just to get it out of the way, really. Now, I think coming to there now, really looking at where the grain is on those sides. When the next one comes in, does the grain kind of continue? So that one looks good. I've got a corner. The grain seems similar in that corner. See if I can turn it that way. It's going to be difficult to see. It's probably going to fall out. But I'm looking at the grain orientations. It comes down round, which is good. So that's there. That's that. This one, slightly different type of grain, but different cut within the tree. Last one, we got that bit there. Going to go that way. We'll glue that on. Okay, so then we want some glue. Clean the glue bottle nozzle, that's better. That should be enough. Now I've laid them out in the order I want. So M1, M1, 2 on there. I don't know if we get overhead. I don't know what we get there. Let's have a quick look, see if we got. So I've got to come back that way. Okay, that's better. That one in. All right. This is the side that we're going to see. So I need to put the glue down in here. Clean the dust off. This is what's classed as a silly glue brush. The other end, silicone. But I can use that plastic spatula, and people are going to go, you're going to put that much on. I'm putting it on and taking it off in reality now. I don't want a lot. Hardly any glue. Blow the waste out. Put it in, bring it round, make sure it's pushed down all the way. Got to do the same the other end. We're going to clamp these in a second, but I need to get them all in before I start worrying about that. The clamps can get in the way, so we put our glue on. I can wipe along, clean it up. That's done. Again, coming in a little bit diagonally. Got a bit of glue off the bottom there, that's annoying. Clean that out now. Long one. Again, looking at which side is the top. Again, just bring that back over, look, see if we can get you more into camera shot. Nothing worse than trying to concentrate on what you're doing and then trying to think of where the camera is as well. We try. That on there. Nothing on the end. We go in. There. Push it back. Nice and equal. Nice and firm. Walk round it a bit, that's good. Trying to push everything down, make sure it's level on the top, that feels good. Last one. Put your glue on. And again, we're scraping it along nicely. Don't want loads. You get loads, all you're going to do is push it about, squeeze it out. I need a little bit on there, which is that chipped edge that came off. Wipe off the excess. Let's get that on first, and then hopefully we can drop that in on the bottom. First of all, bring that round. You kind of gather they're nice and tight. Again, pushing things down. Checking they sit level on the bottom of the box. So it looks continuous now. Check the corners, how do they feel? They're good. We then need to clamp it, so let's just get our clamps. Tricky thing too, clamping wise, something like this. So I love the spring clamps. Great for doing this. We could put a batten across, but I've tried that in the past. When we're doing a batten across the middle, you can mark what you've just sanded. The end ones I've got here aren't going to need too much pressure because the longer lengths will actually hold that. So those spring clamps, I'll put quite a bit of pressure in there nicely. Get our board. Everything's held quite well on there. So, at this stage, I've got to leave it to the glue to set. So, once the glue's set, we can keep going. Alright, so, get up to there. We're going to leave it. And we'll be back soon. Not long. Alright? Okay, hopefully. Glue might have set by now, so we've got our clamps on, so with the glue gone off, let's take everything off. So all we've really done is held that cedar liner nicely inside, trapped in those corners. Right, let's just lose the clamps, put them back out the way before we knock them off the bench. Spring clamps are beautiful just to work with for something like that. They've got rubber clips on the end, so they're not going to mark anything. They keep everything in line, not too much weight. Great, so they're out of the way. So we've got our lining on here. Looks quite nice now, almost continuous, doesn't it? That looks great. So now we've got a few things we're going to do. First we need to probably do, and it's pretty good actually, I can run my finger around, no real big steps on there, but let's just level that cedar. So again, instead of trying to do it fiddly with something like a plane where you're going to get a bit of breakout, just going to go back to that sanding board we've got. Shouldn't need too much, just to level the top of that cedar lining. Again, fingertips, better than my eyes, tell me what's going on. Just going to do on the base, get to that. Got a funny bit of dark colour there, which actually is in the cedar, not a mark that I thought. That's great. Okay, good. Told you it wasn't going to need a lot. That's fantastic. So in here now, we've got obviously to get our lid on. Now, at the moment, it's going to be really tight. I probably won't get it off now. Okay, bit too tight to put anything in and pull it on and off. So we need to adjust that. Now, first thing then, let's go put it together. And trying to see which way the grain lines up. That looks good there. Okay. Because whilst it's like that and it's nice and tight, let's exploit it just a little bit. So we need to clean up outside face. So going to use, and I can use my bench stop there. We just in picture. Wonder if better. Yeah, it's not going to matter. Bit of there. So this is just hand sand the edge. Just really to clean up that outside edge, and whilst doing it with it together makes it more rigid. Also means obviously the contour here, everything comes together right. Good or bad news from my point of view, don't know if I've got it on the right way, but it fits nicely. So hand sand, work nicely. This is 240 grit, so we started quite fine. I'm picking up anything. This is really about losing, if you like, the fingertip debris, I will describe it as. Dirt marks. Make my life easier. I don't know if this one will fit in here. Let's have a look. Or is it just a bit too tight? Bit too tight, that's a shame. I'm going to try and see if we can move the box over on the bench so you guys can see a bit more, but okay. Let's keep going. That's about giving me a breather, wasn't it? Working with the grain direction. Hand sand, why not machine sand? It'll roll the edges over. It'll round it. We want to keep this crisp at the moment. We spent all that time to make something nice and crisp and accurate. Now, this is, like I say, cleaning up just that debris. Pencil marks, fingertips from tools and everything else. Not really giving it a heavy sand. Okay. Do have brush. Get rid of some of that. Just move stuff out of the way. Just checking what I've got. Comes apart. Okay, we now need to in reality soften this opening edge. It's a bit tight. I want it to almost floats on and off. I can push it on, but I struggle to get it off if you want to get anything out. So how? It's going to be tricky to run a plane round. A little bit awkward. So let's show you what I've done in the past. Sheet of abrasive paper. Okay, this is 180 grit. You can probably see on the overhead there, that's great. This end, what I've done, some double-sided tape. I've cut a strip off, which is definitely over wide enough for what we want. Bonded it down. The abrasive, there it is. Piece of pine. This says top, that's relevant. The bottom is flat. This edge is squared deliberately, fractionally out a square, and it's going to be difficult to show you. So what I thought I'd do, get the tractor, put it on there. I've got 92, so I'm 2 millimeters over off square. That's quite clever, isn't it? That's what maybe most of us, you're going to say, I'd do that without even thinking. Yeah, I cleaned this off. I already had some abrasive on it we'd used. And cleaning it off, planed it back to square. That didn't help me. Alright, now the fiddly bit. Trying to separate the abrasive and the double-sided tape bit. It's where we should have had better fingernails by now. Pull that off. We want to get it nicely, if I can, on that bottom face. That's good. Right. So my angle of my block is coming up towards the top, out of square from the bottom, so it tapers more to the top. So if I put the bit that says top on here, like that, and I keep everything flat. I'm taking the top corner off now of the cedar. One side, I can work around it, so I keep it flat. And the ash bearer on the side. So the more I do this, I take a little bit off. Straight again, get up to that bench stop, look, I can just use that as a bit of support. Looking good. Keep going. So we're back round to one whole pass around the box. Let's have a try now. What happens? Should float on better. Getting easier. I can do that with fingertips without having to prise. Still maybe a little bit too tight. Do a little bit more. So this is just bringing the angle down a bit further towards the base. Bringing everything in nicely. Out again. Quick and easy little sanding stick this, really, just to solve that problem. Start to check it again. Don't want it mega loose, but we want it loose enough. Okay, a bit more to go. Just clean the abrasive out. So short bristle brush will be good for that. Again, this is quite fine as a 240 grit. See, they've got a little bit of resin, so need to scrub that up. Short bristle brush will work nicely. Now I'm just going to go around the corners. So I'm driving around, let's come in a bit more. Look. So I can drive around that edge, just take that sharp corner off. Again, while keeping that angle. Okay, let's have a quick look now. That's better. Got a little bit of grip. That will come off. So it almost floats off. Tiny bit though. And like I say, you can adjust this to get it where you like. You could put hinges in, as we said beforehand, but lift off like this can be a little bit easier possibly to do. Nicer in ways, especially you can get that float right. Oh, but look, getting a bit clogged again. Let's clean that out. So this is a silicon carbide abrasive paper. This I think has an open structure, so it will help drop off those abrasive particles. That's better. Get on, just floats off. Okay, good. Build up a bit in there, so let's just turn that over. See if I can use it flat on the ash, just to get in the corner to clean off the debris that I've left behind. That's good. Just having a feel. Okay. Now at the moment, where we've sanded everything, got really sharp edges. And here, we want to clean them up and get them nice and accurate. And again, it's one of those weird and wonderful things. If you do it by hand, you tend to roll it too much. So if you go with cork block, you're trying to keep everything nice and equal. Bit tricky. So could you make something up that's accurate? So we have a little sanding block. Don't know if we can see it. Let's have a look on the overhead a minute. If I bring it up, this is 2 bits of plywood and MDF just screwed together. So the MDF is here. Plywood, you can see the different grain structures why I use 2 different things. 2 screws, they come down through here. So through the MDF, they come into the plywood, deliberately being cut to a 45 degrees. I pilot hole everything and so I can bring it together nicely. Then I've got the abrasive paper, just tight enough that I can pull this through. So I can shift this about if I want. So we've got a bit too much open. Let's see if I can bring it a little bit back. Oh, I'm going to leave it there, that side. I don't want to tear it while we're doing this. So we can drag it about. Once the box is together, we've got our abrasive side there. I can use that there, keep it flat. Bit tricky. Going to be easier for me if I want to do there, to bring it up that. So 6 on there. Now at the moment the box isn't in the right position of where we've made it. I can tell that by the grain structure on the end grain, so I'll move it about in a minute. But it just shows it fits on nicely. One side done, going to turn it over. To there, drop it down. So this is just giving you a nice accurate way of softening those edges. Do the ends. Got a couple more bits to do yet, but let's just work around it so you can see how that's giving me control and giving me a nice accurate corner, and they're all the same. So easy to make. And once you've made it, it's there. Right, got to take apart. Going to come up on edge again. Going to right if we can get in. Got enough room to get into there. So this will create the break line between the lid and the base. Got something I don't like on the end there, so let's clean that out now. Go back in. Abrasive's getting a little bit warm, so move it about, get another bit out, feels better. You can remember we're only using a real small line of the abrasive just to soften that edge. That one's still really sharp, so come round. Having a feel with fingertips what's going on. Tricky one to do. I want to soften the corner. So I can do exactly the same, trying to get it so you guys on camera can see a little bit. So roll that round, just to take that sharp edge off of there. Good. Okay, have a feel what's going on, that's good. Got to do exactly the same for the lid. Need to raise it up. Oh, let's go that way, be better. More accurate. Easier to sit on. Having to think now. Side. To there. This is just about softening that corner. Getting nice and controlled, I can set it. Possibly I was trying to do this home, I might hold it in the vise and do it, might be a bit easier, but I'm trying to show you guys on camera position and everything. That's nice, that's good there. Not too much debris anywhere. Top corners. Gonna do just a little bit there. So I can work around from different positions now. Okay. So in theory our lid, if we've got things right, should fit on any place. Okay. Quite nice, isn't it? Got that, just that little bit of grip. Am I in the right position? Yeah, looks good. The grain lines up. I'm looking at the end grain fibres more. A couple of dots on here. I think they're in the grain. That's good there. So if we misalign the grain, what happens? That's on the opposite way. Should still line up nicely here. That's good. Alright, so you can see that. Not too much of a break line in between. I think if I bring it back in, sorry Matt, of me playing around, not thinking of which camera you're on. Okay, A little bit of a line as a join line, but nothing shows too dramatically. Alright, good. Just having a dust session now. Normally, possibly at home, might get the hoover out. Clean this up. So I get the workshop vacuum out. Clean up anything that I want to get rid of. On here, got a little black dot, which looks like a mark. No, that's not coming out, so that's in the timber. Right, last little bit. And this we can do a little bit and start to show you. Finishing wise, what would you use? You can use whatever you like. Okay, there's no right or wrong on what you're going to use for this. I'm quite an oil fan. It's something that most of us can do at home easily and get right. Takes a little bit of effort though. So we have something as some finishing oil. I put some in the tub, we'll put the lid back on there. Cotton cloth. You could do French polishing. Now we're going to do something as a French polishing type technique. So paper towel, cotton cloth, put your hands, scrunch it up to make a ball, roll it, dip it in the oil. Okay. Now you're going to need to build the coats up for this. So you can't expect this just to magically happen in one coat. I'm going to go round a minute. Fiddly bits like the corners, you might need a small brush. Now the reason for putting the oil on like this, you're putting a small amount on. You're not flooding it, you're not wasting too much. If you put it on with a brush, you need to wipe off the excess quite quickly. The first coat, this will drink. It will really soak it in. I will probably need to put 5 or 6 light coats on to build it up. I can rub down in between with some like a 320 grit silicone carbide paper. You can see how the colour's changing, just doing what we're doing. Right into those corners. Let's see if I can do it with the cloth. That's good. You'd obviously work round. Now, I'm going to get myself in trouble in a second because I want to put it down. So I'm going to put it down on that edge. You can work round all of it. Ideally, you might need to let it dry a bit more in between. So you might need to do the bottom, then turn it over once it's touch dry. This will touch dry in about 10 minutes on this first coat, so really instantly. I can do all the inside. We'd do exactly the same with the lid. When you're going to do it, I would actually keep them separate as components. Look at that. So, Matt, how about having a look on the overhead? Look at this colour coming out. Let's see if I can... Isn't that pretty? Wow. Okay. That beautiful contrast of materials. Whirl it. So that's just work into there. So you can see how my polishing rubber idea will work. It applies a small amount. In between, when you're trying to get your coats dry, put it in a jam jar or a plastic bag. A little bit of oil. Stops it drying out too much. Then you can come back, take out the jar again, do your next coat, build it up. Okay, so like we said, if you go for 6 or 7 coats, you'll get something a little bit shinier. Alright, needs a bit of wax, but you can see how you can build that up quite easily. Brings the colour out, touch dry quite quickly. Food safe, but you're not really going to put food. You might put your biscuits in here, I don't know. Okay, but whole range of different things, but you can gradually build up that oil finish. That little polishing rubber idea, that's a great way. That's a French polishing type technique. Just allows you to put a small amount on easily, equally, without flooding it and ending up with a sticky mess. You won't use as much oil. That's a real benefit. Okay, so hopefully you've enjoyed the little box. I'm sorry it's taken 3 sessions to get to that stage. Lots of gluing up and all those little things don't help, but we've done everything in live with you in reality. I know you haven't been able to ask questions. If you've got questions, you know where I am. Give us an email. We'll try and answer them. Or the next session I do as a live, you can come in and ask, But great way of doing something. So a little box that's taken me maybe 3 hours in total from start to finish. You've seen all those little tricks. Okay, so thank you for joining us. We will be back with more woodworking wisdom soon. We'll leave you to it. Bye then.